Well, hi, welcome to week 10. We're going to finish up chapter 10. And chapter 10 basically is getting into the inheritance piece, kind of the meat and potatoes of the object oriented programming. And the first thing it talks about is the object class. Now, the object class, we haven't really gotten into a whole lot of detail, but it is basically the base class for all classes. All classes basically are extended from the object class. A couple of methods that we have used so far is the equals method and the toString. Those are all part of the object class. So if we look at this chart right here, we can see that what we've seen so far, we've got our grade activity, our pass-fail activity, which basically extends that, and the pass-fail extends that. So, but behind the scenes that we don't know is the grade activity extends object. It's not written that way, but it is there. So grade activity is an object. And pass-fail is a graded activity, and pass-fail exam is a pass-fail activity as well. So if we look at the object method, so excuse me, so there we have our pass-fail exam 1 is a new pass-fail exam, pass-fail exam 2 is a new pass-fail exam, and I can go ahead and print those out and will automatically execute. So this right here will automatically execute the toString method. And if the exam dot equals exam 2, so here's the equals and here's the toString. If I run this, it comes out and says pass-fail exam. So what is all this? Well, this is what's called a hash code. It is a 32-bit code that every object gets assigned. So we can see that they are actually different. But if we look at it and say, does exam 1 equal exam 2? They do not equal. The reason being is they have different hash codes. So every object's going to have its own unique hash code. But anyways, the whole point of this is to let you know that the equals and the toString are all part of the object class, and every class is extended from the object class. Okay, so that's basically what that first little section there is talking about. And then the next thing we talk about is this thing called polymorphism. And morphism means to change, and poly means many. So basically, many changing. So object oriented. The great thing about object oriented is it. That's exactly what we can do. We can take these objects and we can change them to however we need to basically utilize them. So on the previous page there, at the bottom it says grade activity exam. So I've created an object called exam. It's not instantiated yet. It's not usable until I instantiate it. So here I instantiate it as a new grade activity, and there we have a no-art constructor. But you'll notice down here I have grade activity exam equals new final exam 50, 7. Well, since final exam is extended from the grade activity, final exam is a grade activity. But the point we're trying to make here is, what is exam at that point? Exam is still a grade activity, but what we're doing is we're instantiating it with the constructor of the final exam. Now, if we look at this, if I do the same thing down here, and I have grade activity exam 1, new final exam, grade activity exam 2, new pass-fail activity, grade activity exam 3, new pass-fail exam, and pass it those three. So what we're doing is we're instantiating each one of these objects with these constructors. Now, here's the tricky part. We come down here, and if I say exam.getScore, so here I've got grade activity exam equals new pass-fail exam. Okay, so I'm using that last one. Get score, that works. It's part of the grade activity. Get grade, part of grade activity. Get points each. That's part of the pass-fail exam. This is not a pass-fail exam object. This is a grade activity object. We just instantiated it with the pass-fail exam constructor. That's all we did there. So you'll notice right here it says error won't work. So very important. We can do this as long as, so I can actually say grade activity exam, create a grade activity object, but use the pass-fail exam constructor, because I can do that legally because pass-fail exam is a grade activity. Okay. Now I do want to change my tone a little bit, because if we look at this particular example, we've got grade activity exam equals new pass-fail activity. We say exam.set_score 70, and then we say exam.getGrade. Now if you remember, the pass-fail activity and the grade activity both have a getGrade. But if you remember, we overrode the getGrade in the pass-fail. We did not want a letter grade, we wanted to show P or F. So which one will be called? Well, if you go by what I said a few minutes ago, in that it's still a grade activity, but we instantiated it with the pass-fail activity, and in the previous one, that particular method didn't didn't exist in the grade activity, so basically it errored out. But if that particular method exists in both classes, since we instantiated it with the pass-fail activity, it will execute the pass-fail activity method. Okay, it's a little confusing, I know, but this is the polymorphic part of the object-oriented classes. So again, going back over to this page, get points each does not exist in grade activities. Since it doesn't exist there and the pass-fail, it's going to error out. But if it does exist in both and it's been overridden, it will always execute the pass-fail activity that it's been instantiated with. I should say the class it's been instantiated with. So let's take a look at the polymorphic. So here we have static void main, grade activity, and we'll create an array. Test equals new grade activity 3. Test 0 equals new grade activity. So test 0 equals new grade activity, and test 0 dot set scores 95. Test 1 new pass fail exam. So here you can see I'm taking each one of these elements from this, so it's a grade activity, it's instantiated with the grade activity, but then I take test 1 and instantiate it with a pass fail class, and so it will actually execute that particular constructor. And I do the same thing with test 2 as well. So then when I say get scores, now again, get scores must also exist in grade activity, and it will basically execute. Now, if it only exists in grade activity, it's okay, and it doesn't exist in the other one, it will execute the grade activity one. But if it's instantiated with pass fail and get score exists there, it will go ahead and execute that method. Okay, does that make sense? So if we run this, since number 1 was the pass fail, you get a letter back of P, and the other ones you get A and B because they are having the A through F grading scale in there. So polymorphism, a little confusing, but the rule is this: if I call a method, it must exist in the object part of it. If the method I call exists in both and it's been overridden, it will always execute the instantiated class. Okay? Does that make sense? It doesn't have to exist in instantiated. If it only exists over here, that's fine. But if we have a method over here, it also must reside over here in order to basically call it. The next thing to talk about is the instance of method. And there's an operator in Java named instance of that you can use to determine whether an object of an instance is a particular class. So here is the general form of the expression. Um, well, that's kind of a bad example there. So here we have so here we have grade activity, we have an activity object, it's instantiated from a new grade activity. And if I say if activity instance of grade activity, then go ahead and say yes, this activity is a grade activity, else no, it's not. So if we come in here, and that's pretty obvious because it's created from the grade activity. We come down here and say final exam equals new final exam. If the exam is the instance of a graded activity, we say yes, it's a graded activity, else no. And guess what? It will be because final exam is extended from, I don't know if it's extended directly from the graded activity, but it is extended it's somewhere in the chain that graded activity is above the final exam. So yes, it is a graded activity. And I could probably copy this. So I have it copied into the code here. So I just actually say if the exam instance of graded activity. So there I've created an exam. So if I go ahead and run this, it says yes, exam is a graded activity. Why? Because it is extended from, and it's within that chain. Okay, so instance of is a pretty powerful because it allows us to find out which class is it extended from. And again, we only can use it when we're doing the inheritance process.